outlaw. I wanna holler, but the giant's too small. Young man rhythm got a hold of me too. I got a rockin' pneumonia and a boogie woogie flu. Want some loving, baby, that ain't all. I wanna kiss her, but the gal's too tall. Young man rhythm got a hold of me too.
Oh, no.
What?
No, intro.
Here we are again.
Who's made this mistake? Oh, unbelievable. We'll have to do it again.
Oh.
Do nothing again.
This is what you've come to expect, so this is what we offer.
Yeah. If you expected patriotic films for July 4th, you were wrong about that one, too.
Yes.
But happy birthday, our
US
country.
of A. Yeah, right.
What's sociologically, or what's the word for civilization?
What?
What's the adjective that means civilization?
I don't know.
It's not civilly.
No.
Civilizationally.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sure.
What are the teen years? Is that where we are?
The
Or are we in the later in the sundowning, watching a lot of Fox News age of living in Boca? Is that where we are?
I don't know where we're at.
Did anybody tune
don't
in for
know.
this kind of commentary? Do they want to hear about movies?
Yeah, I think they probably want to hear
All
about
right, just
movies.
10 more minutes then. It's compared to, I don't know, what, like the Roman Empire or something like that? I mean, I guess, we've got probably a middle age compared to the Roman Empire. If the Roman Empire lived an entire life
Yeah, right.
as a civilization.
Sure.
I know they were cut short,
Yeah.
but we all got to go sometime.
Yeah. This is true.
What about Egypt?
Yeah,
Egypt,
I don't know, man.
is a region, but the Egyptian kingdoms, went on for so long.
Yeah.
And for thousands of years.
Right.
And except for the fact that they're all in one spot, around the Nile and the Nile Delta, I mean, you can't even call them. There's no unbroken chain of civilization that they carried through. There was the upper and lower kingdoms, and
Sure.
there, a king got in and tried to destroy everything that his predecessor did. That sounds familiar. Okay, we did it. We found Egypt. We're doing Egypt as a microcosm.
Sure.
We split for a while.
Uh-huh.
We got back together.
Right. Yeah.
Got anything to contribute?
Any
fictional examples?
Any fictional
Maybe compare us to Star Wars or something like that?
I don't know how long Star Wars was around.
The Republic
they were
lasted
far
for
away.
16,000 years, according to old canon. That's legends now.
Oh,
But at
okay.
least for 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace in the galaxy.
It's a lot of generations.
Before the Dark Times.
Yeah.
Before the Empire.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
What happened, man?
To Egypt? to Rome? To the Jedi? Or to America?
All of those, but I guess I was specifically talking about...
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah, okay.
Honestly.
I guess I was talking about specifically the Jedi. I mean, we know what happened with Darth Vader, but how did the dark side happen? Was it always there? Were they just building people up? Were they just collecting warriors?
Great question.
Yeah.
Also addressed in Legends canon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know nothing about Legends. Nothing.
Well, there's a legend of the first the first guy to discover the Force or the light side or the dark side or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, a better example, or better to my earlier point. Also, there are different periods in the Republic to which how does the Republic work? I mean, they have a huge Senate that apparently doesn't do much,
right?
At least in the times of the prequels, but. Their republic has been going for a long time, and so long that you can tell stories in the Knights of the Old Republic period, which take place I think 2,000 years before the films, the ABY films. That's after Battle of Yavin. Hey, man, you
Wow.
kind of asked.
I did.
I brought it up, but then you said, "Tell me more." 3 words you'll regret forever.
Yeah.
And that was like there's a great hyperspace war, between like the Sith and the Jedi, and like Sith are actually alien. Well, I don't know if they've changed all this, but like Sith are aliens that come from a planet called Korriban, maybe I can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
And but evil Force users who were fleeing from, I believe, the remnants of the Great Hyperspace War, found this world of the Sith, and it was strong on the dark side. So they sort of learned the ways of the Sith, and that's how the Sith became a thing. And then the Sith came back, and we had the wars between the Jedi and the Sith, and so.
So the Sith weren't all bad, but
it's
then
a lot
they
more
became
interesting
all
than.
bad.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting than what's going on with the Skywalkers.
All right.
And in a lot of ways, and Lucas definitely didn't, I think, ever plan this because he didn't come up with any of that stuff. That was all came up with by the great authors, who wrote for the extended universe. But it does sort of take place similarly to Lord of the Rings. This is all movie stuff, kind of, in a time that is suckier than the old times.
Sure.
By the time that Frodo finally tosses that stupid ring in the mountain.
Yeah.
Sauron is just, he's an eye in the movies, but we don't know that he has taken physical form, or at least he's very weak. And Sauron was like the first lieutenant of Morgoth, who was like the big Dark Lord. Sauron is like a pale shadow of the power of Morgoth.
Okay.
And
sure.
the wars of like the First Age that like destroyed like half of the continent of Middle Earth and everything like that. It's like all this great stuff. And then so you think like a bunch of elves and men, you're trying to fight a bunch of guys, orcs from Mordor is like this huge battle. That's nothing compared to like the epic, godlike battles of the First and even Second Age. But we're only seeing like sort of the last gasp.
Did he? Okay, so I'm not.
And that's what we're getting. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what we think of like Star Wars as epic, but the battles of like, of Exar Kun and all these guys
sure.
from the Old Republic were like epic.
Okay, gotcha. Going back to Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's world, Tolkien? How do you say it? I always get it wrong.
It's Tolkien.
Okay, Tolkien's
But
world.
he, of all people, could understand how a word becomes just accepted and assimilated into language, and you got to go with it. Tolkien would have said GIF for sure.
Were these epic battles? Are they? Did he write? I know he wrote about them, but did he write them as well anywhere? Or like, I'm showing my ignorance here. But
It's called the Silmarillion.
In the Silmarillion? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I saw some post online recently, like, and I don't know how serious it was, but it was supposedly somebody had never read any of Tolkien's work before and was like, so I just finished all of the Silmarillion, and I was wondering what I should read next. Should I read The Hobbit next, or should I read...
You are ready to go.
Yeah, right?
You are all set.
Right. Everybody was, like, kind of commenting on
Yeah.
it, like, you read the hardest thing first.
Yeah, you'll be ready to go. And so when they start singing all their songs about this and that, you'll be like, yeah, I get it. That's totally cool. Yeah. And then like when they finally run into Galadriel, he'll be like, oh wow, she made out okay. It was looking bad for a while, But she married up, and she did a good job. And yeah. What else? When Frodo has the vial of it's just vial, I guess it's a PH, but you still say vial. And he says, "Aya Arendelle Elian Alikama," and you're like, "Yeah, right, of course, the light of the two trees. Yeah, I understand. The Silmaril that sets on Arendelle's brow. Yeah, that's gonna totally f up a spider for sure." There's an interconnectedness in these books that I enjoy. But you gotta dig through it though. You gotta stick with it. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
And I also wonder, where's Toriel? I don't see her in these books anywhere.
I have no idea.
Remember Evangeline Lilly? Now we are talking about movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I saw a great meme. They use this meme sometimes, the Endgame meme, where they replace Scarlet Witch with like, you took everything from me, but it's somebody who's.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe it's I don't know. It's a baseball fan. You took everything from me.
Right.
There's no baseball.
Yeah.
And then it's Thanos with a COVID-19 head, and he's like, I don't even know who you are. But I saw one where, like, Toriel's like, if this is love, why does it hurt so much? Take it away.
Uh-huh.
And then it's Tolkien who's like, I don't even know who you are. It's pretty good.
That is good.
I gotta share that out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, we got as per usual, an eclectic selection of movies here today.
Yes.
We're talking about Mine First.
Yes.
And I chose a film from 1954 called Johnny Guitar.
Yes.
Why?
Why did you pick it?
Well, we're going to ask ourselves that in a second.
Yeah.
No, I know why I picked it. I had heard about this film. I had heard that it was good. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that. I knew that Joan Crawford and Sterling Hayden were in it, and so I wanted to see it for that reason. Mm-hmm. And also Ernest Borgnine, I guess. Mm-hmm. And, I just I wasn't trying to connect it to Shane too much, but it was made, I think, a year before Shane. And I was looking for a 50s Western.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And it certainly was that.
Yes. Yes, it was.
It's in the Library of Congress.
Oh, very nice.
It's like a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
Although I would quibble with that. What happens in this film?
Yes. So what happens in Johnny Guitar? Did they ever say exactly where they are? They're somewhere out west in the United States.
Arizona, I think. It
okay.
doesn't really look like Arizona, but it's supposed to be Arizona.
And it's not quite... Well, it's kind of a town. Well, there is a town. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Joan Crawford is this woman, Vivian, and she has this...
Vienna.
God, why did I say Vivian?
I don't know.
Vienna. And she has this... She owns and operates this saloon called Vienna's. And it is just outside of this very, very small town that has been built, and you can drink and play cards. That's what they have on offer. And their railroad is supposed to come through in about a year's time. That's what she's hoping for, anyways. And she says, once it does, she's really pushing for it. And once it does, everybody's working for her. They're gonna get some money coming back to them. Anyways, she has hired Johnny Guitar to supposedly play music, but then we find out that he is also really good with shooting things. And the townspeople, so there's a lot of townspeople. There aren't a lot of townspeople. There's this one really angry townsperson named Emma, and she hates everything and is mad at everything, pretty much. And her brother gets held up in a stagecoach.
We're 5 minutes into the movie.
Okay, all right. And he dies, and she blames it on the dancing kid and his gang. And she says that Vivian's in on it too, because she doesn't like Vivian either. And blames it on them, and the movie goes on. It wasn't the dancing kid. We never find out who it is. Doesn't matter. They're going to chase the dancing kid and Vivian out of town, so the dancing kid's like, I want him to remember my name. So let's rob a bank and, rob the bank and make them really remember us. So they do that, but it doesn't exactly go as they planned, and it doesn't turn out too well for the gangs or for Vivian or Emma, and that's kind of the movie.
But Johnny Guitar makes out pretty good.
Yeah.
All things told.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's accurate.
Is that okay?
Let's go through the cast. Joan Crawford plays Vivian. Mm-hmm. Vienna. I gotcha. We'll get back to her. Sterling Hayden in what's got to be one of his first. Well, he'd been around for before this, but it's an early role for him. Mm-hmm. You can tell because he looks kind of bored. Mercedes McCambridge plays Emma Small. Excuse me, and she. I don't have much to say about her, so I'll just get it out right now. I didn't love her.
Oh, she was real grating, but I think that was on purpose.
Yeah, but maybe it's the script, but I just didn't sense a lot from her. And Orson Welles loved her. I think she was part. She might have been part of his company on the radio because He could not stop talking about her. She did win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for All the King's Men.
Okay.
And went on to... She was in a ton of movies. And she was, funny enough, the voice of Pazuzu in The Exorcist. But I love her in this. And Scott Brady is the dancing kid. And Scott Brady did a lot of TV roles. Cowboy stuff.
Okay. He looks kind of like a cowboy.
Yeah.
You know.
It kind of reminds me of what's his name's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Although he would definitely be older than that guy, though.
The cowboy character.
Yeah, the cowboy character who ate a bear's heart or liver or whatever.
Yeah.
Leo.
Leo?
I know, it took me that much to say the shortened version of the most famous man in the world's name, but that's where I'm at now. My brain don't do names anymore. This is it. Sun's getting real low, big guy. That's me.
It's okay. It's okay. I was I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking of I for whatever reason when you said the name of that film, I wasn't thinking about that film. I was thinking about what it was, Hail Caesar, for some reason. I don't know why I was thinking about Hail Caesar, but that's what I was thinking of. And I was thinking of the kid who was in that, who played the cowboy, who was also, wasn't he?
I got Ansel Elgort. That's not it. But
no,
I don't know.
No, that's not it.
No. I know. I don't know. Is this more important than Johnny Guitar?
No,
actually,
it's not.
I mean, it might be.
It's not.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you sure it is?
I am positive.
But John Carradine is in this as Old Tom.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, John Carradine never said no to anything. So
well, there you go.
If this is not a big part, I feel he's way above this. But he's just in it as Old Tom for some reason.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we mentioned Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
Who's playing an Ernest Borgnine character in that later on in his life, was it Blue Thunder or whatever? Or was it on Airwolf? I always get those mixed up. I'm going to say it was Blue Thunder. He's like a nice guy, and he plays a nice guy. And if you need a big kind of sweaty guy with gap teeth to like be the sidekick, there you go, right? But also he plays some villains too. And when he plays a villain, he is that character. He is that person as a villain. He's like smiley, and he's going to help you out, and then stabbed in the neck, which is what happens to one of the characters in this movie. I don't know who it was.
Corey.
The bookish cowboy. He's just always reading a book. He's like the sensible one.
Naps.
The dancing kid's like, let's get out there. He's like, I don't know if we should do that, kid.
Yeah, right.
I guess I'm overruled in this case, but let me file an objection. This was made by Republic Pictures, directed by Nicholas Ray, who's probably most famous for directing Rebel Without a Cause, and some other stuff that I don't think is quite as good. And the screenplay is by Philip Yordan, but here's the deal, and I didn't look too deep into it, but Philip Yordan was a screenwriter, but he was also a front for a lot of blacklisted writers. And in 1954, this would have been right around the time. So without digging too deep, I don't know who wrote this.
Interesting.
But Philip Yordan's name's on it. Based on a book from the year before, and it feels like it's based on a book, doesn't it?
Kind of. The way it's paced. Yeah.
Paced, but also the way that it's dialogue heavy.
It's very dialogue.
And I'm going to compare for the rest of my life every cowboy movie to Shane, but
because that's the gold star now.
Well, it is for me.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple others, but definitely this one. And Shane has some parts that are obviously written. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like this is a speech or whatever, but it's also, I think, stands out for how natural it feels, and how realistic the characters are. And all the characters here, like in a kind of bad or too clever by half screenplay, they're all the same kind of sarcastic. They're all trying to get one up on each other. They've all got, who is it? Brian Azzarello is the comics writer that I compare it to, where every single character, they're all finishing each other's sentences.
Yep.
Somebody starts to say something, a stitch in time, cross the road or something. They're all like twisting each other's axioms and metaphors and stuff like that to try to get one up on each other. And that's kind of what this is like to me.
Okay.
There's a couple character moments that are weird and don't necessarily pay off. Like, okay, so apparently Dancing Kid's gang didn't rob the stagecoach.
Right.
But they're not good. They're a gang still. They're not great people.
Right.
And Borgnine, whose character's name is...
Wow, I can't remember his character's name.
Flap. Smack.
Dip. I can't remember it.
Flip.
I remember the kid's name is Turkey.
Bart.
And it's the dancing kid.
Real tough.
Okay.
Bart. Decides
Bart.
that he doesn't like Johnny Guitar. And so he, is trying to force feed whiskey to Johnny Guitar or whatever. And Johnny Guitar's like, well, I'm not going to drink all this whiskey. And then Bart's like, we got to fight. And Johnny Guitar's like, I'm going to take my guitar off. I'm going to take my guitar off. And give me some Sterling Hayden stuff.
I don't know.
Ice cream, Mandrake, children's ice cream. And they go outside and they have a fight that we don't see. It's just going on while the kid is talking to Vienna.
Yeah.
And they come back in and he's whooped Bart, and now Bart hates him. And I don't know. I just feel like that's supposed to tell us something. But, they say like show, don't tell, but maybe show. Also,
we should also see it. Yeah, right. Especially if it's going to be that important to the rest of the film.
Yeah, and I guess old Tom gets a death scene. There's her crew that works the place, and we get the idea that it's not. There's nobody here yet. She's opened a restaurant.
Yeah, right.
But the trucks haven't delivered any food, and they won't until next year, and so she's just got to kind of keep it together until then. And so nobody's in there. She's got gambling tables. She's all good to go. It's a cool looking place too. It's like built into the mountain. Like the back side of it is built right into this mountain.
And there's like a cave that goes underneath it.
And so she comes out and and like nothing's happening. And she tells like the roulette guy, just spin the wheel. And he's like, there's nobody here. He's like, yeah, I like to hear it spin. So throughout the movie, like you'll just kind of hear this spinning sound sometimes. That it's maybe supposed to ratchet up the tension, like, because this posse comes in and they can't fight now. They have to wait till the end. But I don't know. I just didn't. It doesn't. It feels wrong to me. And here's something else.
Okay.
And I don't know what kind of money like Republic is working with, but it feels cheap. It just feels. It looks like a TV.
Wow.
Show. It looks like a Disney like show or a Western or something like that. It doesn't like have a huge, real epic scope to it. They knew somebody who had dynamite. I'll tell you that much. And if those actors weren't on those horses, then I was scared for those stunt actors on those horses. Because
right.
There's a mine there. There's a silver mine in town, and so the most effective thing I got out of it was when Johnny Guitar rides into town. They show us a couple things right away. Not tell, they show us. Johnny Guitar's riding in.
Yep.
And there's an explosion because his movie's got to start with a bang, literally. And you're like, okay, it's a mining town. Mm-hmm. And Johnny rides a little more. He sees a stagecoach getting held up. Okay, it's kind of a rough town.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge hurricane or dust storm or dust.
It's a dust storm. Yeah.
Dust devils or something.
Yeah.
Blowing through, and that never. If that's a metaphor for something, I don't know what it is, but we know that it's sort of a bleak, dusty town as well. Mm-hmm. And then the movie kind of like falls apart after that. Like, why is he Johnny Guitar? He doesn't play any songs. There's literally...
He plays a little bit at the beginning.
He plays some tunes, but this is where you would cast a Ricky Nelson or a Glenn Campbell. They did this all the time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
This is where you'd have a country guy like who is Johnny Guitar.
Yeah.
And so when he's not kicking ass or like showing everybody, like he's another one of these characters that we've talked about who's like, I don't use guns because bad things happen when I touch guns.
Yeah, right.
But we know he's still, a gunfighter or whatever. And he would just jam out some songs, but that doesn't happen. And like a lot of movies in the 50s, there's a song that goes with this movie sung by Peggy Lee, which is a fantastic... The song's way better than the movie, called Johnny Guitar. But he couldn't sing that because he's going to sing it by himself.
I know, and then they don't
I knew this girl once, and she wrote the song about me.
Yeah,
and now I'm going to sing it for you.
Right,
Mandrake.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And then we don't even hear the song until the very end, and it's just like a couple of chords. Yeah, it's barely anything.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we hearing the song now? It's weird.
That being said, for a movie, I mean, it's 54. I think this is probably pushing the limits of what you could get away with back then. Like, it's a violent film.
Yes, it is.
In brief... sporadic bursts.
I can't remember if you actually see blood. Oh, you do see blood. Okay.
There's the innocent character Turkey gets
hung.
Yeah, he's hung. And
although we don't actually, once he's hung, they don't actually.
It doesn't.
We don't, and now we don't need to see it. We don't need to see him hanging.
No.
But we don't see
he
his
disappears.
feet.
They remove the actor and his body and everything.
Like we should have seen like a dummy's feet or something like
Vienna.
that. Yeah.
Well, maybe that was too far. But like what the movie's saying.
Wait,
too.
is it Vienna or Vivian?
All right, shut up. What he was saying too is that he is the innocent. He's a redheaded, like 16-year-old kid who, for a gang that's very bad at being a gang, has literally never done anything at all, and he is just caught up in this. And the townsfolk who are completely one-dimensional and just rabid, they hang him and he dies for nothing, and then old Joan Crawford makes it through. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
what? There's just why? Who cares?
I know. And then like.
There's more.
Like, yeah, I have a couple other things I want to say.
Oh, hurry up.
Wow.
I'm sick of talking about Johnny Guitar already.
Well, it should have been called Vivian.
It's Vienna.
Is it Vienna?
Yes.
Gosh, dang it. It should have been called Vienna, but you can't name it that because it's the 50s and nobody's going to see a freaking Western named after a girl.
No, because they like hop-along cowboys with lazy songs that they sing on horses.
But Vienna,
and that's not what this is at all.
But Vienna is if anybody is the protagonist of this film, it's Vienna. And Johnny Guitar freaking disappears for a good portion of the movie. He is nowhere.
He leaves when everything is going down.
She tells him, she gives money to all the guys and is like, I want you out of here for now because they told me to leave. So this is just my home for right now. But if this all gets over with, we'll get back together.
She pays her debts.
Yeah. And she pays him too and told him to leave.
Did you get that she was a prostitute?
No, I don't think that she was.
She used to date Johnny Guitar 5 years ago. They're like long lost lovers, which you never believe.
Yeah.
Apparently, Hayden hated working with her.
Great.
Well, everybody hates working with Joan Crawford, but then Emma, what's her name?
Yeah.
Hated it too, and she. I know why she was on the radio because she talks a lot, but she called her everything in the book, and Joan Crawford, she's like, I'd never work with her again, and Joan's like, great. I have 4 children. I don't need 5. Who's getting pushed down the stairs now?
Oh, wow.
Sorry, finish your thought. If you can remember it.
Well, so she tells him to leave, so he just leaves, I guess. But then he, comes back, and that's when they had captured them to hang them right then.
Yes.
And then also Emma sets her place on fire.
I'm going to pull out... Yeah. Well, we were watching The Sacrifice. They burn a house in this, too. Yeah. It looks great, but they have to ride by it 12 times.
Yeah.
Because they got the timing wrong, I guess. All right, back to my point. They dated 5 years ago, and I get the idea that he was gunslinging and drinking and probably not a good guy, but she can't help herself. And then she gets this place, and they talk a little. Here's my thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I haven't pulled this out in a while. Do it. Remake Johnny Guitar. Mm-hmm. Lin-Manuel Miranda is. That's where you should have stopped me. No, I mean, do it. Put some actual songs in it.
Yeah.
And then this movie wants to be super adult. It wants to be bloody and violent. It ends with Emma and Vienna in a showdown. Like they draw on each other. Mm-hmm. And she shoots her off a balcony. It's like but you couldn't do that back then, and they didn't have the violent imagination back then to do this. So I say, give it to Quentin Tarantino. Redo this thing. You're trying to paint this woman who's hard. She's been through a lot of stuff. More than the movie can't even get away with suggesting, but they get as close as they can because he's like, all these men, how many men have you forgotten? And it's like, as many as all the women you remember or whatever. And so it's like, these people...
Yeah.
It could be a thing where they're really trying to wound each other and it's a Virginia Woolf situation, or something like there's a love-hate there. But it just... Once he disappears for half the film and comes back, he's just there to kind of protect her. And you're right, she's the main character. She solves her own problem at the end by blowing that schoolmarm away. But there's just so much random stuff going on with no payoff.
It's a little bit of a mess.
And she's dressed like Ronald McDonald.
At the end, yes. Yes, she is.
Mujer hamburguesa. So, I don't know. I did kind of like the, maybe speaking of people blacklisted who are trying to get their work out, when they have Turkey at the end, and they're like, tell us that she's in your gang, and we'll let you go. They're like, trying to coerce him into naming names of people.
Right,
Do you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, I bet
So,
you're right. Yeah.
Why wasn't Emma? Is her last name Huack? Look it up. Anyway,
yeah.
didn't love it. Ready to move on.
Okay, let's move on then.
Wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, okay. You wouldn't even recommend it.
No,
All right.
go listen to the song Johnny Guitar, and you'll get the same gist.
Sounds good.
Tell us about your movie.
Yes.
Oh boy.
My film was a little film called The Warriors. Didn't know much about it going into it. Knew it was about gangs.
About 90 minutes long.
And and then it came out in the 70s. And I'm pretty sure you told me before that it's directed by the same guy who did Streets of Fire.
Walter Hill, yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I didn't really know exactly what was going to happen in the movie. So, yeah. Do you want to tell us what happens?
I would love to, and I would love to talk about this film someday on Craft to Services because it was really panned and not loved, not understood when it first came out, and it deserves way better. Here's my synopsis.
Okay.
There are 100,000 soldiers in New York City, and the Warriors have to get all the way back to Coney Island.
Yes.
It's going to be a long night.
Yes.
Gumshoes. I can't remember that actress's name, but the lady who's from Carmen Sandiego is the radio voice.
Yeah.
Mercedes Rule is in this. Fun fact: she's the undercover cop in the park.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Other than that, not a lot of hey, look who's there.
Nope.
People, except Deborah Van Valkenburg, who plays Mercy, and I don't think do we ever get her name in the movie?
I don't think so.
Is the sister of what's his butt in Streets of Fire?
Oh.
Who runs the diner?
Yeah. Okay.
And it's
Gotcha.
Why couldn't she be the role of the singer? Sorry, other woman whose name I don't remember. This is a real problem now. Do I do flashcards? What do I do?
What is her name? Why can't I remember her name right now?
Well, you've never been good at it. But
Yeah, okay, but still, I should remember her name.
Diane Lane.
Yeah, Diane Lane.
Oh, why would you remember that?
Stop.
You're halfway there.
Yeah, all right.
So anyway, So somebody named Cyrus. So there are goofy gangs in New York. This is an alternate universe New York, where a little grease paint and a switchblade makes you a special gang. And there's a man named Cyrus who has called everyone to the Bronx to hear something that he has to say. And his proposal is, there's only 20,000 police in this town. Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Can you dig it? And his plan is, why are we fighting each other? We got to get out there. This town could be ours if we just stop with the violence. And then Jerry from Twin Peaks shoots him dead and blames it on the Warriors. And guess what?
What?
It's a long way home.
Yeah.
I don't know how many stops that is.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know anything about New York, I know it's a long way, but for people who don't know anything about New York, they have a handy subway map that flashes through the credits, and also the characters look at it, on the train or whatever.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, I can go into detail, and we will, but that's literally it, except I'll fill out a little more of my time by adding that it is based on a book. Yep. And the book is based on a historical story or novel. Novels didn't exist back then, but I guess it's a poem or something, called Anabasis, which is about a Greek, the 10,000 they're called. It's a bunch of Greek soldiers. Okay. They're called to a conclave by Cyrus the Younger.
Okay.
Who was a Persian general, and he's like, I want to take the throne from my brother, who's currently on the throne. Mm-hmm. But it's basically like it's betrayed, or they're betrayed, and these guys are stuck in Persia, and they have to get all the way back to home from Persia.
Okay. All right.
So that's the historical basis of this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And they're warriors.
It says it right on their vests on the back.
Yeah.
The Warriors. In case you want to know who you're looking for, The Warriors.
Walter Hill made a director's cut of this, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, maybe earlier. Mm-hmm. Which, so it's not all that different. There's some stuff that's different, and I think it's like only a minute longer because he added a voiceover that I think he might have done himself that explains that story that I just told you. And also, so he saw that in this because of the book, but also he saw all these colorful gangs as sort of like comic book characters almost. And so there are like, instead of just the wipes, there are like comic book panel transitions.
Interesting.
Between scenes.
Okay.
Which, when I think about it now, that sounds awful.
It does.
And I had the director's cut all queued up to watch, and you're like, well, let's watch the original. Like, all right, well, I'll get $4, and I guess we'll watch the original because I only have the director's cut. But you're right. The way that this movie starts is great. I love that, where it's all word of mouth, and so you got the credits coming, through the subway tunnel, and the cool subway things on either side, and then it's like, oh, Baffo's gonna talk to Ding Dong or something like that.
Right.
Tell me about this Cyrus. And it's like, ooh, man, he's the man.
He's magical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like how they fed us the exposition through the intro.
And you're meeting all the characters.
Yeah.
You're not learning their names.
No.
And you're gonna have a problem with their names for the rest of the time.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes, there are 9 members of the Warriors who we follow, and we learn from Cyrus at the meeting that there are 9 representatives from each gang.
From like 100 gangs.
And
100 more at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you dig it?
Yes. I mean, they weren't supposed to bring any weapons to this meeting, but obviously somebody is going to disobey that. I kind of figured, and the kid who did it was a real twerp and like just a real a-hole, and I don't even know why they did it. You know what I mean? It's not like anybody hired him to do it.
He just likes doing stuff like that.
Right. That's the best explanation we got. So, okay, I just like chaos. I don't know.
Yeah, but that
works, I
can
guess.
understand that. The Warriors have a code. They're the nice gang. They run a fun train on you.
Yeah, right.
It's just like murderers, thieves, rapists,
I
right?
know, yeah.
But anyway, we had to adjust our morality meter down for a movie about gangs. And they have a code, and they'll never take their colors off. They have honor. And David Patrick Kelly and the Rogues or whatever, they don't have any honor. They don't care. They just want chaos.
Right. And I guess they set that up at the beginning, just contrast and everything.
So it's called the Warriors. It should be called the Extras.
There's a lot of extras.
There's a lot of young guys in this film.
Yeah, like who have no lines.
They must have reused some, right?
Gosh, I would hope so.
I don't know about the crowd scene in Fulton Park in the Bronx, but I don't know the Bronx. But the credits they list like the gangs that we see.
Yeah,
so you see like here's the Turnbulls, and here's all the guys that are in the Turnbulls, or here's the Baseball Furies, and they're all unique names as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
so
I know.
you just put a call out. Hey, are you 18 years old?
Right.
And you love swinging bats?
Right. You want to make a movie?
But I got a lot of acne. It's not a problem.
No, not a problem.
Can I be white or black? You can be whatever.
Yeah.
A bunch of skinheads chase our heroes, and,
I know,
and half of them are black, half of them are white.
I know. I thought that was
It doesn't matter.
Too. Yeah.
Will you shave your head?
No lines. Will you shave your head? So their leader, I can't remember his name now.
Swan.
No, I'm not talking about Swan. I'm talking about their original leader. I can't remember his name. Cleon. Like, he goes to, like, investigate further, for better or for worse. Maybe it wasn't the smartest move, but I understand why he wanted to do it. What was going on with Cyrus, and was he okay, and whatever. And that's when Jerry from Twin Peaks, like, fingers him as the guy who shot Cyrus, and he says it's the Warriors, and that the word that it was the Warriors, like, spreads, and so then the Riffs, which I guess are like the biggest gang or whatever, was that who Cyrus was the head of or something like that? I don't know.
No, I don't know if Cyrus was affiliated with anybody.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he must have been it must have been the riffs, right? Because they're the ones that are really pissed off that he.
They're the
killed.
ones who are like taking it upon themselves to find them and get revenge.
And I don't, like I said, I haven't read the ancient story that this is based on, so I don't know how much it connects. But it has a very Odyssey feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
yeah,
this is,
it's
when you
all
think
about going home.
When you think about this movie, there's not a lot of character development. There's not a lot of plot. It's just kind of like a hang-up movie. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh yeah, all right, it's this scene. Oh, it's the next scene. And there's even a part. This is kind of like Odyssey, but there's a part with sirens. Do you know what I mean? When they meet the Lizzies.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
And they're like, they're drawn in, like,
yes.
Lust is your enemy. That's why we all bang each other.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So,
well, and when we were watching it, I immediately was like, there's this huge group of girls, and they're just standing there, and they're smiling. And I immediately was like, well, they're a gang that's girls. They're a girl gang,
right.
That's clearly what's going on here, but the Warriors don't think that at all. They're just like, oh my god, these girls are so hot and they want to hang out with us. This is awesome.
Lizzie's is good.
Yeah, the Lizzies. Yeah.
There's probably, I don't know, we only see the one girl gang. You could have the pink ladies out there.
They could have had a whole bunch of girl gangs. I kind of wish that they had a whole bunch.
Robert Palmer's backup band. You don't want to get caught in a dark alley with them.
Wow. Yeah, I wish they had more girl gangs, because I wish there were more girls in this. But
I don't know how like lives work in this, but I like the fact that Mercy is just like, I mean, you see what she has to work with. Like the orphans are just pathetic.
They are.
There's the main guy who looks like Josh from 30 Rock. Remember that character that was on the show for like 2 seasons and then disappeared?
Was it the guy they
he
always
did the bad
made fun
impression of Christopher Walken.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, he looks like him. And she's just like, I don't know if she's his sister or his girlfriend.
Yeah,
or
that
what.
wasn't clear.
But as soon as the Warriors come along, she acts like, a tough bitch. But she's basically like, this is my ticket out of here.
Yeah,
basically. I'm getting on this boat.
Basically. And Swan is like super mean to her.
It's gotta be tough.
Yeah.
Listen.
Which I guess she likes for some reason.
Well,
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
I'm not arguing for the sexual politics of the film.
I don't think it makes sense. And she kisses him, and then he kisses her back, and then he pulls away and was like, this stinks, and this whole night stinks, and you stink, and get out of here, and me. And she still sticks around for some reason. I'm like, oh gosh, why? And then for some reason he changes his mind. For some reason he decides, hey, this chick's okay, but we don't see why.
She comes with a mattress. It's a great deal.
That was horrible. He told her, you might as well have a mattress tied to your back. Where do you get off?
I don't take criticism from a guy with feathered hair who's wearing only a leather vest.
Right?
So
screw you.
Yeah.
And
you don't even have a headdress like Cochise. Come on.
I know, right? Wow.
I would say that this movie is bite size. Goes down easy.
Yeah.
If we were to have maybe another 15 or 20 minutes, I would expect some real character development out of this.
Well, honestly, I think
such as it is,
yeah,
there ain't much.
The most character development is that scene that I just talked about with Swan and Mercy.
Yeah,
that's the most we really get.
I'd like to see
Ajax is an asshole, and
and I love the fact that he gets busted, and he's like second build, and he gets busted, and he's out of the film. And I don't know if there's a story behind that, but Angela's Ashes puts the cuffs on him, and he's not coming back. He's gone.
He's gone.
I like you would get I don't know, Rembrandt, who's the graffiti kid, right?
Oh, okay.
You'd have him some chance for him to
name.
this is how he gets jumped in. He proves his bravery, because he's kind of
he's a little skittish, and he's kind of he seems like he's the youngest, or maybe he's the scaredy cat. I don't know.
These or create some character arcs for a couple of these guys, but.
And we only see him tag one thing. He does spray it in a guy's face, one of the Bay City Rollers.
Yeah, they're gonna know
the
Bay City Roller gang.
Yeah.
This sidetrack. There was a movie that is really only known for being on MS2 3K, in like early days, like it had just recently come out, maybe 3 or 4, 5 or 6 years before, called City Limits, and it is a ripoff of The Warriors, straight up. Like there's just no way around it.
Okay.
And it stars, who would you even know? Robbie Benson?
I got no idea.
Let's see what I have to work with, listeners. Kim Cattrall.
I know Kim Cattrall.
Actually, Radon Chong is in it, and James Earl Jones is in it.
Oh my god.
So when you watch Soul Man and you go, why would he do this? A year before, he was wearing a World War I fighter's cap with goggles and flying like remote control exploding planes around to stop the evil chemical company that's trying to take over the city in City Limits. And in City
Wow.
Limits, they really go for it. Like, they've got, baseball fury type characters. In fact, there is a guy, I think, who's got face paint and a baseball bat, and they go, oh, it's a homage.
Yeah. Right.
But the main character is like from out of town, and he's like a dirt bike kid. I mean, like, motocross, not like just a bike.
Yeah.
And he loves comic books. In fact, comic books are like a currency in the world. Like all the gangs read comic books and kind of trade comic books for money and stuff like that. And so clearly Walter Hill had that on his mind, I think. It didn't really make it into the film, but City Limits is like, we'll take that. That and The Kid from Ice Castles. Let's do this. So this is way better. But I think that film did have better character arcs, to be totally honest. But that's why it's a hangout movie.
Well, like Fox sees Jerry from Twin Peaks, can't remember the name, his character's name, whatever. I don't know if we know it. Kills Cyrus, and he must have told everyone off screen because they all know that he did it, but we don't see him tell them.
Maybe just him coming all the way to Coney Island to finish them off
was how they knew or something like that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. And then Fox is fighting a cop in
Is there
a
a
subway
character named
station.
Fox? You keep saying Fox.
Fox is the curly-haired guy.
Well, that doesn't narrow it down at all.
He's the white curly-haired guy who is running around the subway with Mercy, and he's fighting a cop. He tells her to leave. He fights a cop, and they're rolling around, and I don't remember if the cop
gets thrown
threw
under a
him
train.
or
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
but he gets thrown under a train and he dies.
Yeah.
And they don't know that he's dead. They still don't know that he's dead. Mercy's the cops got him, so they think that he.
Wow, never forget. Fox.
Yeah, right.
You remember that name?
They said it once or twice, but I don't know. I just remembered it. Anyways, but yeah, he saw him shoot him, and I thought that would be a big plot point, a big thing or something, but no.
Yeah.
No.
The best moment in the film is something of a character moment. Is when they've been fighting all night. They've been going through they've been chased by the Lizzies. They've been breaking chairs across women's faces.
Yeah.
And going through the subway tunnels. And then they're just on the train and headed out to Coney Island. They're almost there. And they're super tired. They're dirty. And then those prom kids get on.
Yeah.
And the prom kids sit down. And they're all dressed up and nice. And they're laughing and talking to each other. And Swan and Mercy are just kind of looking at them. And the kids see them looking at them. And they're like, okay. Let's be quiet. Mm-hmm. And it's just they're probably the same age.
Probably.
They're all the same age. It's just they're just on these completely different. Their lives are totally different, and it's the only intrusion really that there is a real world. I don't count the girl at the candy store who's like, "Hey, pay me for that, lady, employee of the month. I know you want it, but you have to ride a train to get it.
Yeah.
Let them take the candy."
Yeah, right.
And at the end of that moment, Mercy self-consciously starts to sort of straighten her hair and brush it back, and he just grabs her hand and he puts it down no.
Yeah.
This is who we are.
Right,
That's
right.
who they are. And they leave.
Yeah.
And it was okay, you understand Swan a little bit after that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a good moment. Absolutely. Do you think this movie
I think it's really well made, if
Yeah.
that's what you're going to ask. There's some really great shots in this movie.
Uh-huh.
And we watched it on Amazon Prime, so I assume if you get the Blu-ray, it's amazing. It looks amazing. It's a great remaster. Anyway, Walter Hill just set some really great stuff up. There's a lot of great slow-mo in the fights and stuff like that. Like when Swan ends the fight against the Bay City Roller Gang, and he kicks him through that stall door. It looks awesome.
Yeah, no, that looks great. Was it Swan who did that, or did a couple of them get kicked through doors?
Yes.
Okay.
The specific moment that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Never mind. Yeah, there were some great action sequences in this. I kind of liked when Ajax and the guy with the cowboy hat are like, "Oh, let's take on the what were the baseball guys called again?
The Baseball Furies.
The Baseball Furies. Let's take these guys on." And Ajax is just, he loves fighting. You just can tell that from him, and loves, taking people on. So he's like, all right. And like the kid in the cowboy hat gets like punched once and is out for the count. And then the rest of them show up and like kind of help. But Ajax is kind of alone for a while. And like, but then they're like, hey, I knew they were, I can't remember what he said exactly, but like,
this is turning into a great anecdote.
Hey, but like he basically, he knew he could take them, is like what he was saying, like that they weren't that tough. And yeah, was not a fan that like Ajax's favorite word is like
the F word.
Yeah.
Well, he got what was coming to him.
I know, but seriously, wow, kid.
It's just the most dangerous thing in this movie is women. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe it's just, you think, okay, so they're gang members. We've already dialed our morality down, and we're not going to worry too much about how they treat women. But, Swan is the one guy that respects, a woman, and not only gets her as a girlfriend, but, makes it back to Coney Island and is the warlord now.
Right.
But,
True.
Ajax is like, I'm going to take what I want, and I don't care if you want it or give it to me or not.
Yeah.
And then, boom, you get Fisher Kinged.
Yeah, right.
I'm running out of movies that Mercedes Ruehl is in. And then the other guys are like, yeah, we'll just spend some time right here. This is fine. These girls are great.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know, right?
Quick, break a chair across one of their faces.
I know! That was kind of great, though. Like, I mean, they were respectful to them until, like, they knew that they wanted to, like, kill them or attack them or, turn them in, what have you. And then they just kind of, they didn't hold back, which, I don't know, I can kind of appreciate in a way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, you get a lot of movies where it's like, nah, I'm not going to punch a girl. And then, like,
Well, when the girls pull guns and knives on you.
Right?
We're,
Yeah.
We are combatants now.
Exactly. So, do you think this movie, like, I mean, it's a cult classic, right? Like,
absolutely.
People like it.
Yeah.
Like, so why?
Rockstar made a video game out of it almost 10 years ago now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and there's a weird thing where the guy that played Cyrus, either he wouldn't let them use his likeness, or they used it and he didn't. I didn't give you permission, and he like sued him or something like that. But anyway,
really,
it's like a fighting game. Yeah, Rockstar was trying a lot of things before they're like, okay, I guess we're just the company that makes Grand Theft Auto. Fine.
And Red Dead Redemption, don't forget that. So
two of them, I guess. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Really? Because
Yeah.
we got about 5 minutes to fill.
Oh, we have to fill 5 minutes.
I guess we don't have to. The show's usually an hour.
Yeah, I know, it's usually an hour.
Were you really going to let us get through a whole thing about the Warriors without... I need another thing that's glass.
Oh.
Warriors.
Yeah, that was weird.
To play.
That was weird. And like, I did like how you heard it like before you saw it, because you're like, what is that noise? And yeah, just
he improvised that on the set.
Did he really?
Yeah, I don't remember the story fully, but it was just something like, give us something weird.
Well, he did.
And like, that guy is not, he doesn't play like a weird character in Twin Peaks and like all the other things that he's done. He's a weird guy that does weird stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like he's the great, class. I'm sure it still exists now, but the great class of the 70s actor who's just, no, let me do this. I'm going to do this. Like how we complain about like how Tom Noonan seems like a real asshole. You know, and
Well,
if he's playing Frankenstein, he's supposed to choke you. He'll choke you for
Noonan-
real, and you have to call him Frankenstein's monster on set. But he's just like one of these method guys who's like
Yeah.
he'll just do whatever. And he's like give me some beer bottles. Warriors.
I did like to, going back to just after that scene where they are about to do the face-off on the beach, and he has a gun and he's like ready to shoot all the warriors, and Swan's just like, screw this. We haven't seen him use a knife this entire time, and he has his knife pulled out and he just flings it and hits him in like the wrist of the hand he was holding the gun, and the gun goes off, but I don't think it hits anybody. And he just whines like a little baby, and like I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, they're the best.
Right?
The best there is.
Well, and like the riffs give him a compliment and stuff like that. I almost felt like maybe they were going to try to recruit them or something like that, but they were just
I think you
paying
get
them a compliment.
You get the idea that there's a future for the Warriors in the gang environment.
Yeah.
A seat at the table.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, they got to bail Ajax out of prison.
Yeah.
They got to find out what the hell happened to Cleon.
Exactly.
So maybe that's a sequel.
Yeah, there you go. Do the Warriors sequel. What would that?
Warriors 2. Warder. I don't know. No.
No.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Don't do it, but they're doing it anyway.
Are they really?
The Russo brothers announced that they're going to develop a Warriors TV show. Now, listen to me.
What?
Listen for Hulu. Listen. I think it was Hulu. The Russos, come out and play, yay! Do a kung fu movie, like Legend of Kung. No, what's this? Shang-Chi.
Yeah, there you go.
Why'd they bail? Why don't they just come back and do weird stuff?
I don't know.
Do a Moon Knight movie. The Russos can make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's get this point down. The point is that they work out a lot of stuff, and who knows if it'll ever see the light of day. But God knows their TV record. Post Community, not great.
What have they done post Community? I'm not even sure.
They did Deadly Class.
Oh, right.
A class that died.
I wanted to watch the rest of that.
Vagrant Queen got canceled.
What was that?
Vagrant Queen got canceled.
You're kidding.
I know, that show that we only watched the pilot of, and we really liked it. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. We never watched it again. Why do you think it was canceled?
Because we didn't watch it.
Vagrant Queen.
Oh my god.
Come out to play.
Wow.
Why didn't I bring 2 glasses for this? Here. Vagrant Queen. Come out and play.
It's not quite the same, but
Told you we could fill
it's
5
better.
minutes.
There you
no
go.
No problem. This has been COVideos. It's still called that, and we haven't thought of anything else to call it.
Yeah.
And nobody's quarantined anymore. It'll be for your dead-entertainment pretty soon.
Whoa.
But hopefully things won't get that bad. But we will definitely be back in the future to talk about some other cool, fun movie. That's what we do. Any last words?
Thank you.
The wallpaper goes right.
Very much.
Thank you very much. And we will talk to you some other time. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Wear a mask.
I got a rock